Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing today? So let's quickly confirm that we're on the same page here. So if you can see my screen and you can hear my voice, kindly type in hi in the comment section so that we can get the session started. Are we good to go? Are we good to go? All right, let's see what's happening right here in the comment section. So what do we have? What do we have here? Okay, thank you, Carrie. So my voice is not good, really. Let's see how that sounds here. All right, so let me do some adjustments and see if it's going to get better. How about now? How about now? Can you hear me clearly? Oh, thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. Good morning to you. Thank you, 2260. Good morning to Francisco. Good morning to 781. Good morning to, okay, I can see Steamroller's comment here. All right, I hope you'll be having a wonderful day. All right, so I would like to take this as a confirmation. Okay, thank you, 2260. So I would like to take this as a confirmation that we are actually good to go. So I'm excited to welcome you to yet another beautiful session on the Extra and Speed Live. My name is Sheriff Daramola, and in the next 1 hour, I shall be your host, where we shall be evaluating the financial market using technical parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us today. Well, it's our culture here in this community that we are going to first of all review all the pairs we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week, after which we are going to be using whatever technical parameters or structures we identify to determine what our next line of action is going to be for today. Well, before we dive into the chart, it's important that we look at the economic calendar as we have uh, a series of major high impact events that is definitely going to be driving price action today. And participants in this market will obviously have an eye on this event, and this shall be reflected on the chart as price action. So today, on Wednesday, December 14th, we have a couple of events that is likely going to be affecting the US dollar. And we have something in the Fed interest rate decision, which is coming up in like 8 to 9 hours from now. We also have the Fed monetary policy statement, the FOMC economic projection, and the FOMC press conference. So these are quite a major events that we want to be looking forward to today, and we might likely be seeing some consolidation phase or indecision in the market at this point in time that will be giving us sign of what the next line of action is going to be like. So we are going to be looking at the structures in the market. We are going to be looking at how the structure is going to evolve into a possible buy position or a sell position at this point. Then there is an event that came up yesterday in the form of the consumer price index, and we can see that the results weren't that good as we had it was below expectation, and this actually affected the dollar significantly well yesterday. And we saw how the dollar dropped in value during in the last 24 hours. So we shall be looking at all these structures and using them as a yardstick for our trading activities for today. With that being said, let's dive into the current chart and let's see what is really going on in the market right now. So as usual, the very first commodity we are going to be looking at today is the US oil. And on the US oil, we have been on a profitable situation here since the beginning of the week. As currently, for those who are taking advantage of this move here, like me, right above the $72.50 level, you will definitely be running with close to 400 pips in profit right now. And for those who are taking advantage of this opportunity at the breakout retest of the $74 level during the course of the New York session yesterday, also you will be in about 180 pips in profit at this point in time. So if you have two positions running, you will definitely be close to around 500 pips, which is not bad after 3 days trading session in the week. So with this being said here, congratulations to those guys who have taken advantage of this move. And as we head into the New York session today, what is going to be our plans? And we're also going to be looking at possibilities of adding more position to this trade. And for those who had missed out on these opportunities that we took advantage of since the beginning of the week, well, let's see if the market is going to be presenting us with another chance. Now, with the current structure we have here on the 1 hour time frame, I already have a position triggered already. I think I placed this early on this morning as soon as price broke out of the $75.50 level. This is a new structure I was able to identify during the early hours of today. So we had a breakout of that structure. Price came back to do a retest of structure. And in matter of fact, we started seeing buy pressure around that area along the $75.50 level. And with that being said, a position was triggered right around the $75.50 level to inside the third position that I will be opening for the US oil for this week. So our take profit target still may remain right around the $79.50 level. However, for those who had missed out on this opportunity, we still need to be very wary of the current situation here, as there is a tendency that price might likely go to the downside. And the reason why I say there is a tendency for price to go to the downside is simply because of the rejection we saw around the $76.50 level during the New York session yesterday. So we are going to be identifying a structure around that area, which we shall be using as a yardstick for our trading activities for today. So with that being said, I will bring out my line chart here. Then we connect the resistance point together here, and I would like to give this a purple color. Okay, so let's have this as a purple color here. And then we have it labeled. I think that's the $76 area. Yes. Hold on a second. All right. So we have the $76 level here. I'm correct. Okay, I'm correct. $76 level. So that is a new structure we shall be using to guide our trading activity for today. So for those who had missed out on this opportunity right above the $75.50 level, well, I will be advising us to wait, hold on, and let's see how price action is going to relate to the structure here at the $76 level. So there are two possible situations that we shall be expecting from this area. Now, the first one is if price breaks out of the $76 level, taking out the sell position here, taking out all the sell position here and gather some liquidity that will drive price action to the upside, then we want to be seeing this as a sign that buyers are probably getting stronger at this particular point in time. So we want to be getting ready to take advantage of any buy opportunity right above that structure. And if we are lucky enough to see buying pressure right around this area on our lower time frame, then it's going to be a good thing for us to add more position to our existing trade. And for those who are yet to join any of these opportunities that we have been taking advantage of since the beginning of the week, well, this is an opportunity lining up for us if a breakout retest of the structure or buying pressure coming up around the $76 level, we want to be joining that rally to the upside. Then the other scenario that might likely happen here is that we might be having price reject that level another time. And you remember we had the rejection of that level by the seller. So every attempt by the buyers to break out of the $76 level was met with strong resistance from the sellers yesterday. And let's see what is going to happen here today. Is price going to reject that? Is sellers going to reject that place one more time? And if it does reject that level, then we might be seeing this as a reversal pattern that might likely incite another wave of bearish momentum. But if a rejection happens, we are not going to get too excited, as we need to remain very patient to wait out for further confirmations to happen before we want to be joining that decline to the downside. And what are we going to be looking out for in the form of a signal if price comes to the downside from here? Well, I will be holding on to see price break down the structure here. If this is going to turn out to be a double top structure, where the neckline area should be falling around the $75 level. So if we have a neckline, if we have another rejection there, then we're definitely going to be having our neckline around the $75 level. Let me adjust this and let's label this for the sake of clarity. So we have the $75 level around here. So we shall be waiting to see price break down that structure to give us a signal of a reversal pattern, and we might want to be joining right below the structure after selling pressure is identified right back into the $72.15 level. And the reason why we are going to be having a take profit target here, that is if we start seeing selling pressure on our lower time frame right below the 76, breaking down the $75 level. The reason why we are going to be having our take profit target around the $72.50 level is simply because of how that structure was broken here on Monday. We saw the breakout of the structure after the completion of a reversal pattern here in the form of a double bottom structure. So we saw the breakout of the neckline there, and we should be expecting that price might likely come back to do a retest of that structure before another wave of bullish momentum will happen. So let's see how this is going to play out. So we have, like I said, we have two scenarios we are waiting for here. A breakout retest, buy pressure right above the $76 level should give us an opportunity to join the bullish momentum. However, if a rejection of this structure happens in such a way that price breaks down the $75 level, selling pressure below the $75 area on our lower time frame, we want to be joining that decline to the downside with a take profit target around the $72.50 level. However, for our buy position, we still have our take profit target within the $76.50 level and the $80 area. So let's see how this is going to play out during the next couple of hours. If you have any questions regarding what I just explained so far, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section below. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the chat and see if there are any questions before I move on to the next option. So let's see what's happening right here in the comment section. Okay, I can see 436. Good morning to you. Wants to know how this works. Well, this is a community where we gather, we come together to analyze the financial market against the New York session on a daily basis. And we make our decisions here and get ourselves prepared for the New York session. And subsequently, we come back here to do a review of what we have discussed on a daily basis. So this is simply what we do here. So 4219, good morning to you. Okay, 952, good morning. Thank you. All right. Okay. In the absence of no questions, I guess we're all on the same page. So I have no choice than to move on to the next option. So the next option we are going to be looking at this morning is the US tech. And in fact, we had a huge move yesterday, which broke out of the $12,000 level to give us a bullish momentum. So let's quickly run through what our expectations were yesterday before we come back into making a decision for today. So yesterday, we were around here yesterday. We were around this point yesterday, around below the $11,750 level. And remember, we already took advantage of a buy position right here at the 11,560 at the beginning of the week. And as at yesterday, we were running with over 130 pips in profit. And one thing I stated here yesterday is that since price has broken out of the $11,700 level, we took advantage of another opportunity right around this area, which pushed price to the upside. So I said yesterday, to make our job easier yesterday, we identified a new structure at the $11,750 area, where I said a breakout retest of that structure should be giving us a signal to buy the US tech or add more position to our existing trade. And this is exactly what happened yesterday prior to the I think at the beginning of the New York session yesterday, it happened. So we saw the breakout retest on our lower time frame, and it was another opportunity for us to join the rally to the upside. And in fact, within an hour, price action hit our take profit target at around the $12,090 level, and we got that position closed. There was no time to add more position to the existing trade as price action moved so fast. And for those who are taking advantage of this move, well done, and well done to you guys for being on standby to take advantage of this move. So right now you would have been in, let's see how many pips in profit will have been since the beginning of. So the first position gave us about 530 pips. Then the second position here gave us over 400 pips, and the third position that's opened yesterday gave us about 300 pips thereabout. So we are off roughly above 1,500 pips on the US tech. So kudos to you and congratulations to everyone who has been part of this profitable trade. So now that we are going into the New York session today, what is going to be our plans? Well, let's quickly run through the daily time frame. Let's have an holistic view of what is really going on in this market, after which we want to be making decision based on the current structure. So looking at what we have here on the daily time frame, we can see that obviously price action has been on a bearish momentum since the beginning of the year. And as a result of this, we had this bearish trend line figured out after connecting the series of higher lows, lower highs here that we have here. However, when we zoom into the month of June this year, things become a little bit interesting, as we saw our buyers took over the market, negating all selling pressure around the $11,000 area. So we saw one happen here in the month of June, and the same thing happened here in the month of September stroke the early days of the month of October. However, if we look at what happened here in the month of September stroke the early days of October, we saw that the buy pressure around here was not strong if compared to what we have been witnessing from that area in the past, as we saw that as soon as price got into the $11,700 level, we started seeing selling pressure from that area. So we identified the $11,700 area, as we saw multiple selling pressure around that area. At least that selling pressure there lasted for about 2 months on the US tech. We saw another one happen here during the last couple of days in the month of October, before we finally witnessed a breakout of that key level at the $11,700 area. And if we look at what happened here since price broke out of the 11,700, there was a huge consolidation phase here, hereby emphasizing the indecision in the market at that particular point in time. So since the breakout of the 11,700, participants in the market were not sure if this trend that began on the 4th of November, that is the first week of November, will continue to the upside. So we saw this huge consolidation phase here, right within the 12,090 and the $11,500 level. So we saw the resistance point here, selling pressure around this area. We saw support level around this area. And from a technical standpoint, whenever we have a consolidation phase following a bullish impulsive move like this, we want to be patient enough to look out for a signal which might likely come in the form of either a breakout of this channel to give us a signal of a bullish momentum, or a breakdown of the channel to give us a signal for a bearish momentum. However, in the last 6 weeks now, we haven't seen any signal as price has continued to trade within that structure. So now what we have noticed here since the second week of the month of November was that as soon as price gets into the $11,500 area, we have been witnessing buy pressure from that area. And the same thing happened here during the course of last week's trading session. We saw buy pressure around this area, a move we also took advantage of during the course of last week's trading session. And at the beginning of this week, we saw another buy pressure around this area, and this buttresses the reason why we took a buy position at the beginning of this week, which gave us a profitable portfolio as soon as price went back into the $12,090 level to close for the day. Now that we have this current situation here, and look at how the candle for yesterday closed. It closed in form of a shooting star candle. And what does a shooting star candle tells us? It tells us that there is a tendency that sellers are still very, very strong in this market. So we need to be very, very careful at this particular point in time to look out for structures that might likely give us a detail into what is really happening on our lower time frame. So with a shooting star candle identified here on the daily time frame, we want to scale down to the lower time frame and see if the shooting star candle is going to continue to hold selling pressure. Then if that is going to be the case, then we want to be looking forward to selling the US tech. So now let's go down to our 1 hour time frame. Let's see what is really happening around there to see if we can take advantage of a sell position, or we could be seeing a bullish pattern evolving on our 1 hour time frame. So let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame, or in fact let's scale down to, let's say, the 2 hours time frame. Let's see things from that perspective first of all before we make a decision here. So this is what we have here on the 1 hour time frame. Hold on a second. Let's see what's going on the 4 hours time. Okay. So right here we have this trend line. We saw price break out of that trend line here. Hold on a second. I will show you that in a moment. So we saw price break out of both the $11,750 level and that trend line there to incite a bullish signal. So with a breakout retest of this structure, this is more or less a bullish signal for me. So what I'll be doing here is to continue to use the trend line that we identified here. Remember, we identified this trend line here yesterday after connecting the series of higher lows here. So we had the trend line, though we had the breakdown of the trend line here, but price climbed up again above that trend line yesterday, and we can see buy pressure continue to drive price action, hereby giving us further higher lows. So what I'll be suggesting us to do here is to identify a structure which we shall be using as a yardstick for buying opportunity for this week. That is, if buyers will continue to push price to the upside. So I have a structure here at the $11,875 level. So let's identify the structure for the sake of clarity. So we have the $11,875 area. So we shall be looking forward to buying the US tech right above that structure. So if we have a breakout retest of that level on our lower time frame, we want to be looking out for buying opportunity. And if you look at the structure very well, you will see that the structure also lines up with this bullish trend line that I showed you earlier. So if price climbs above both of this 11,875 and the bullish trend line here, and if we are lucky enough, we start seeing buying pressure right above the $11,875 level on our lower time frame, then we want to be taking advantage of a trend continuation to the upside. And if a trend continuation to the upside happens at this point in time, well, where will our take profit target be? Well, what we want to be doing to identify where our take profit target is going to be, we want to be using the impulsive move that started this week and project it into the future using our Fibonacci extension tool. So if we run our Fibonacci extension tool through this impulsive move to the upside here with a aim at around the 127.2 and the 1414 area, we should be having something around the $12,500 level. From an holistic point of view, as a take profit target, we should be dovetailing to over 700 pips in profit if price action moves in that direction. So we are continuing to look out for buying pressure right above the $11,875 area for buying opportunities on the US tech. And if price continues to the upside in such a way that it breaks out of the $12,090 level, remember that level which was holding selling pressure in the last 2 months on the US tech, That was the resistance level of the channel we identified on the daily time frame. If a breakout of that structure happens, then we want to be looking out for buy pressure on our lower time frame right above that structure to add more position to our existing trade. So that is my view here. If the momentum comes in, bullish momentum comes in at this particular point in time. Now, in as much as we are looking forward to buying the US tech right above the $11,875 area, we should not ignore the possibility that sellers could likely come in at this particular point in time, considering the fact that we saw a shooting star candle here on our daily time frame, giving us a clue that there is selling pressure still exists in this market. And at the same time, breaking down of this bullish trend line here should also give us a bearish signal in that regard. So what I'll be looking out for to sell the US tech if sellers will take over this market is to look out for a breakdown of the structure. That is breakdown of that bullish trend line. If likely, breaking down the 11,750, then selling pressure below the bullish trend line should be able to incite another wave of bearish momentum. A breakdown of the 11,700. Remember how that level also has been holding solid, strong selling niche for participants in this market. Then retest of structure. We want to be adding more position to our existing trade. So these are the two scenarios we shall be looking out for. Looking out for buying pressure right above the $11,875 area to join a bullish momentum from here. And if price breaks down the trend line to the downside, if possible breaking down the 11,750 with selling pressure below this trend line, then we want to be looking forward to selling the US tech. So these are my scenarios on the US tech. I hope I made myself clear. If you need further clarification regarding what I've just discussed so far, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section while I move on to the next pair. So that is that on the US tech. Uh, in the absence of no question at this point in time, I will be moving on to the next pair. And the next pair we shall be looking at is the USDJPY. Well, USDJPY, it was a painful situation for me yesterday as I missed that bearish momentum that took price all the way down to our very important key level at the 135.00 area. So this is what happened yesterday. And what was my expectation? What did we decide to do during the live session yesterday? So during the live session yesterday, hold on a second, let's scale back down to our 1 hour time frame. So on our 1 hour time frame, this was the setup we had here. Remember, we took advantage of this buy opportunity right around the 136.700. Then we had another position right around the 137.150 Japanese yen area, which gave us price was running with about, let's see, was running with about 90 and 50 pips respectively. So we had a total of about 140 pips running in profit during the live session yesterday. And in a matter of fact, we actually identified the selling pressure that started around the 137.70 level, where I said sellers could likely take over the market, but we never knew that the selling momentum will be as huge as this. As I was looking at a possible situation where price might likely come back into either the bullish trend line or the 136.700 area before another wave of bullish momentum happened here. But instead, what we saw was quite significant as the breakdown of the bullish trend line here for the cent price going for that to the downside at this point in time. So on the buy position we took yesterday, we were able to close with some profit as we moved our stop loss to somewhere around the 137.450 level, which gave us roughly about 100 pips thereabout. If you had moved your stop loss accordingly. And for those who took advantage, I told you that if price continues to the downside here, we start seeing selling pressure below this trend line. We had this trend line and the 137.7 as a yardstick for trading activities, where I said we shall be looking forward to buying opportunity if price breaks above the structure and selling opportunities if price break below the structure. So this selling opportunity we identified here yesterday was actually for scalpers and counter trend traders, as we never knew price will move that huge. So with this scenario that we have here, we already have a position running at this particular point in time, as I saw a consolidation phase here. So let me quickly take you through what our expectation is going to be like for today. And for those who are taking advantage of this move, this bearish momentum to the downside, in fact, congratulations to you guys. You really have wowed me. So now that we are going into the New York session today, what is going to be our plans? Well, if we look at what we have here on the 1 hour time frame, the first thing you would observe following this impulsive move to the downside yesterday is that as soon as price got into the 135 Japanese yen level, remember that very important key level we identified on the daily time frame. Don't worry, I will be showing you that in a moment. We shall be going to the daily time frame in a moment, but let's quickly run through what we are seeing here on the 1 hour time frame. So we saw that as soon as price tested the 135 Japanese yen level, price has been caught within a consolidation phase in the last how many hours now? I think 18 to 20 hours now. We have been witnessing this consolidation phase. And as a result of this, I was able to identify a beautiful setup here, a very simple setup in the form of a wedge pattern. After connecting the series of higher lows here to give us this temporary bullish trend line that you can see right now. Then we also had this resistant level identified after connecting the series of lower highs here to give us a consolidation phase here, which could likely incite a reversal pattern or a trend continuation to the downside. So I shared this on my public platform this morning, where I said a breakdown of the 135.300 will be inciting a possible bearish momentum. And this is exactly what happened here. So we got a position triggered below the 135.300. So if you are taking advantage of this move here, kudos to you. You will currently be running with about 50 pips in profit. So I will be advising you to move your stop loss accordingly. Well, at this point in time, I'm moving my stop loss to break even to lock in some profit. However, for those who had missed out on this opportunity, let's see if the market is going to be presenting us with a second chance to either add more position or join this decline. So we are going to be looking at a retest of the structure to incite another wave of bearish momentum to the downside. So that's what we are going to be looking forward to. But first of all, let's quickly go to the daily time frame. Let's see what is really going on the higher time frame, especially for those who had missed out from our earlier session on the USDJPY. So right on the daily time frame, what is the first thing we observe here? So this is the daily time frame here, and we had a couple of structures here to guide our trading activities for the week. Remember, so we had this situation running at the beginning of the year where price has been on a bullish momentum since the beginning of this year. However, there is a very interesting structure. The most important structure we emphasize here based on the current structure here is the 135 Japanese yen level. And the reason why we laid so much emphasis on this level is simply because of what happened here in the month of August. Right along that bullish trend line, we saw a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. And whenever we have a reversal pattern like this, we want to be identifying a neckline which shall be serving as an opportunity to buy. A breakout of that level will be serving as an opportunity to buy the USDJPY. So we saw the breakout at the month of August, and since then price took over 3 to 4 months before price action came back to do a retest of that neckline. So we were at a very critical point here last week. Remember, we took advantage of this bullish momentum as price action gave us about 500 pips thereabouts after having like 2 or 3 positions running during the course of last week. And during the beginning of this week, we had a situation where we joined the bullish momentum here, and we were hoping that price will break out of the 137.700 level to incite another wave of bullish momentum. So we had 2 scenarios that we were expecting yesterday, that price will break out, or sudden pressure below the 137.700 will send price crashing to the downside. But personally, I missed that move anyways. But congrats to those who were able to take advantage of that move. So price has come back into the 135 Japanese yen level again. Now, with this current structure we have here, it's important that we remain very patient. Even though we have a position running at this particular point in time, I told you, move your stop loss accordingly, because this level still has a tendency of buying pressure anytime soon. So we might be having buying pressure around that area. But if the buy the sell position we took advantage of on our 1 hour time frame continues in such a way that we see price comes back to do a retest of the 135 Japanese yen level with selling pressure below the structure on our lower time frame. This might likely incite another wave of bearish momentum. And if a bearish momentum happens here during the New York session today, where will our take profit target be? Well, with the current structure here, we shall be using this impulsive move that broke down this bullish trend line as a yardstick for our take profit target after we want to be extending it into the future using our Fibonacci extension tool. So if we run our Fibonacci extension tool through the previous impulse leg here, we should be aiming at somewhere between the 127.2 and the 1414 area as our take profit target. In the meantime, that is if selling pressure continues right below the 135 Japanese yen level. So we should be having somewhere here that is around the 130.3, 131.350, 131.500 area, which will be dovetailing to about how many pips that is if price, okay, minimum of 370 and a maximum of 490 pips to catch here if price moves in that regard. So what we are going to be doing now is to go back to our 1 hour time frame. Let's look at the structure here and decide what our next line of action is going to be. So going back to the 1 hour time frame where I said we already have a sell position running, and remember we having a macroeconomic event coming up today. We have the Fed monetary policy statement, we have the FOMC economic projection, and we have the FOMC press conference as well. So these are very important high impact events that will be driving price action, and it's going to be massive if any move going to be happening here. If it's going to be a buy, it's going to be massive, and if it's going to be a sell, it's going to be very massive as well. So want to be looking out for how we want to take advantage of this move. So right now we are back on the 1 hour time frame, and like I said, I was able to identify a structure here where we saw a consolidation phase around here. So we already saw the breakdown of that structure. So let's see if the market will give us another opportunity to add more position or join if you had missed out on this trade. So we are going to be looking forward to either price coming back to do a retest of either this trend line, the 135.300 or the 135 Japanese yen level. But what we are going to be looking out for to confirm that the selling pressure will continue is if we start seeing selling pressure right below the structures on our lower time frame, then we want to be getting ready to add more position to our existing trade. And for those who are not yet in this trade, this is a good opportunity to join that potential decline to the downside. However, if price breaks out of this trend line, remember we had this bearish trend line here. If price breaks out of this trend line in such a way that we have a breakout retest with buy pressure right above the structure, then we want to be getting ready for another wave of bullish momentum, as this might turn out to be a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure where the breakdown of the structure here will become a false breakdown. So we have two scenarios we are looking forward to here. Let me quickly do a short recap of what our expectations are. So we already have a sell position running, like I stated earlier, right below the 135.300. Now I have said that let's wait and see if price action will give us another opportunity to add more position or join if you had missed out on this opportunity. So we are either looking out for price coming back to do a retest of this trend line, retest of the 135.300, or a retest of the 135 Japanese yen level. So we wait for price to come within the structures here. The most important thing we are going to be looking out for is selling pressure below the structure on our lower time frame. Then we could actually join that decline to the downside. So remember we had our take profit target somewhere around the 131.500, somewhere around here. Already we had the target for sellers here at the beginning of the week. So let's wait and see how this is going to play out. If price will move that far, then the other scenario I stated here is price does not go that far, and instead price breaks out of this bearish trend line here, break out of that structure with buy pressure right above that level, then we want to be thinking of buying USDJPY with a take profit target in the meantime around the 138 Japanese yen level. Remember that level has been a strong selling nation past. So if price breaks out that structure, retest that level again, then we want to be thinking of adding more position to our existing trade. So these are my views here on the USDJPY. Have any questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section, and let's see how I can be of help in that regard. So those are my views there on the USDJPY. So in the absence of no questions, let's move on to the next pair. And the next pair we are going to be looking at is the XAUUSD. And in a matter of fact, we were profitable on the XAUUSD yesterday. In fact, the move went beyond our expectations for the gold. So during the live session yesterday, we were around this point here yesterday. We were right between the 1,788 and the 1,785 area. And I was able to identify two structures that we shall be using to guide our trading activity yesterday. And the first one is this bullish trend line, which I showed you, which I said I will be calling a temporary bullish trend line in the meantime after connecting the series of higher lows here. That was one. And I said if price breaks down, retest that bullish trend line with sudden pressure below the 1,785, we want to be selling or adding more position to our existing trade. Then the other scenario I stated here was the $1,788.50 area where we identified the resistance level here. So what I said is that if price breaks out, retest the structure on our lower time frame, that if we start seeing buy pressure right above the 1,788 or around that area, we want to be joining the rally to the upside. A matter of fact, we had over an hour to make that decision here as we saw the breakout on our lower time frame with buying pressure right around this area. And in fact, we had our take profit target at around the 1,810 maximum yesterday, which dovetailed to about 2,100 pips here. And price within an hour, price hits the take profit target, and there was no room whatsoever to add more position to this trade. So for those who are part of this profitable trade, kudos to you. Congratulations, guy, for taking advantage of that move. So right now we are heading into the New York session today. What is going to be our plans? What are our expectations? So with the current structure we have here, as soon as price tested the $1,825 level, we started seeing selling pressure, and which brought price right back into this area at around the 1,805 level here. And since price tested the structure, the last 12-15 hours now, we have been witnessing a huge consolidation phase here, further emphasizing the indecision in this market and the likelihood that participants are looking forward to a catalyst that will be driving price action, that will be bringing liquidity into the market to drive price action. And like I said earlier, we are anticipating three major events coming up today: the Fed monetary policy, FOMC economic projection, and the FOMC press conference. So you will agree with me that this is a major event that we shall be looking forward to drive price action. So what I'll be doing here is to identify the structure. Since we are caught within a consolidation phase right now, we want to be patient enough to wait out for signals to give us an opportunity of where price will be heading during the New York session today. So we have a structure here at the for now I will be 1,806. Okay. So I'll be using the $1,806 level. So let's label this area for the sake of clarity. So we have the 1,806. All right. Then we have the resistance point at the 1,812. Let me make this a little bit bolder. So we have the resistance point. So we have a beautiful channel here, a very simple channel that we are going to be very patient enough to look out for structures to guide our trading activities for this week, for today rather. So one thing I want to be doing with this bullish trend line is to extend it a little further. So if price breaks down the $1,805 level, selling pressure below that structure, we might want to be looking out for selling opportunities. However, if price breaks out of the $1,812 level here, we want to be looking out for buying opportunities. So what I mean here is this: break down selling pressure below the $1,806 level, we want to be joining that decline to the downside. And for now, I will be suggesting that we place our TP target around the 1,788 level, this level here that was broken yesterday, to see how price action is going to be relating to that structure. So if we start seeing buy pressure right above that structure, we want to be getting ready to join another wave of bullish momentum. However, if a breakdown of this level happens, followed by selling pressure below that structure, we want to be thinking of selling the XAUUSD. Now, there is a catch here. Despite having our TP target around the 1,788 for selling opportunities here, we want to be mindful of how price action will be relating to both this bullish trend line here and the $1,800 level here. So what I'm simply saying here is that if price comes into this trend line here, we want to move our stop loss accordingly. If price comes into this trend line, we move our stop loss to somewhere around the 1,800 and wait out and see how price will relate to this bullish trend line. If we see buy pressure here, then we want to be getting ready to join another wave of bullish momentum. However, if a breakdown happens, retest of structure, we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. So that is one scenario. Then the other one is if price comes within the 1,000, move your stop loss accordingly, probably to break even or probably somewhere around the 1,804 level. Wait out to see how price will relate to the 1,800. If we start seeing buy pressure up above the 1,800, we want to be getting ready to join the bullish momentum where price takes us out of our sell position at probably break even at most. Then we join the bullish momentum to the upside. And instead, if price breaks down the 1,808 with selling pressure below that structure, we want to be joining that decline to the downside. So this is what we are going to be looking out for to sell the XAUUSD. And as you can see right now, the selling pressure continues to increase as we get closer to the macroeconomic event coming up today. So we saw selling pressure right below the 1,812. And as you can see, this candle too is looking more sellish right now. And if we go to the past and see what has been happening here since the beginning of this month, we can see that this area has also been a strong seller niche for participants in this market since the beginning of the month. So this might likely turn out to be a false breakout. So let's see how this is going to play out. So if a breakdown of the structure happens, please be on standby to catch that move when it happens. Like I tell you, the move is going to be very massive. Whichever way price breaks out of, it's going to be a very massive one. So we want to be getting ready to join that decline or rally here. However, if instead price climbs up the 1,812 followed by buying pressure right above the structure, we want to also be getting ready to join a rally to the upside. So whichever way price leads us, we want to be joining it accordingly. So these are my views here on the XAUUSD. If you have questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section while I move on to the next pair because of time. Sorry, I'm having a little cold. So the next pair we are looking at is the AUDCAD. And on the AUDCAD yesterday, it was a profitable trade for us here on the AUDCAD. And where were we as at the live session yesterday? So as a live session here yesterday, we were around the 0.922 level, which I said will be serving as the yardstick for our trading activity during the New York session yesterday. So we had a sell position at the beginning of the week, which gave us about 50 pips, took price right into the 0.91950. And during the live session yesterday, I told you that we shall be looking forward to two things here. The first one is if a breakdown of the 0.9220 happens, followed by selling pressure below the structure on our lower time frame, we want to be joining the decline with the hopes of adding more position at the breakdown retest of the 0.91950 level. But this was not what happened here, as a breakout retest of the 0.92 buy pressure above that structure on our lower time frame gave us that leverage to join the rally to the upside. And this is exactly what happened here. Price hit our take profit target with about 80 pips in profit at around the 0.9300 level. In fact, price went beyond our expectations here, so there was no room to add more position whatsoever or extend the TP, as within an hour price action hits the take profit target. And now we had a situation here. Price rejected this level, came back into that same to 0.92550. Remember, we identified the structure also. When I said yesterday, I said if price continues to the upside with a rejection of this level, we want to be adding more position, or price comes back into the structure with buy pressure above the 0.92250, we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. And this is exactly what happened as soon as price came into the 0.92550 level. In fact, the market gave us about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good hours for us to make that decision on this one. So we saw buy pressure right above the 0.92550 level, and I hope you are able to take advantage of that move. And if you did, kudos to you, as you will currently be running with about 50 pips in profit on this current one. So where will our take profit target be at this particular point in time? Well, if we take into consideration the previous impulse leg here, extending it into the future, extending it into the future using our Fibonacci extension tool, we should be aiming at somewhere between the 127.2 and the 1414 as our take profit target. So we have a maximum of about 0.93830 level and the minimum of 0.93650. So we have a minimum of, let's say, 100 pips and a maximum of about 120 pips to catch here if price continues to the upside. Now, for those who had missed out on this opportunity here, it appears price is giving us another chance to join a trend continuation. So if we have the retest of the 0.93 level on our lower time frame, by pressure right around the structure, we want to be adding another position or joining outrightly from that area. Then we also have a structure here, which was a resistance point at one particular point in time yesterday at around the 0.9330 level. So let's label it for the sake of clarity, 9330 level. So if price breaks out of that structure or buy pressure comes in on our lower time frame right above that level, then we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. So these are my views here on the AUDCAD. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your inquiries right in the comment section. So with that being said, I'll be dropping the curtain here. But before I do, let's quickly do a recap of what we talked about today for those who had missed out from the early hours of the session. So let's quickly see what we are expecting for today. So on the US oil, we continue to remain profitable here as price action has continued to move in our direction, closing into our take profit target area as we are currently around the $76 area right now. So I've told you to move your stop loss accordingly, and somewhere below the $75 seems most appropriate at this particular point in time. So currently we have two positions running here. We have one here right around the $72.15 level. We also have one above the $74 area, and we also have one right above the $75 level. So right now we are at a very critical point here. That is the $76 level, a level which has old sell pressure during the New York session yesterday. And I told you we want to see how price is going to relate to this current structure to determine if we want to be adding more position to our existing trade, or we want to be joining a reversal pattern from this level. So like I said here, we are going to be waiting for price to break out of that structure, followed by buying pressure on our lower time frame to be able to add more position to our existing trade. That is one scenario we are going to be looking out for. But if price breaks down the structure, that is the $76.50 level, then we want to be seeing this as a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure. And whenever we have a reversal pattern like this, we want to be identifying a neckline area, which we have used the $75 level as an area to look out for selling opportunities. If price breaks down the structure, then we want to be joining that decline to the downside with a take profit target sitting around the $72.50 level, where I think that we might be anticipating another wave of bullish momentum here. So let's be on standby to be able to catch whatever move the market is going to be presenting to us. Then next on, we talked about the US tech, where we are also in the profitable position here on the US tech, where we took advantage of the buyer position right above the 11,560 at the beginning of the week. Then we added more position here on Tuesday, and as of this morning, we had another position around this area. So price action hit our take profit target here with about how many pips in profit? We had 530 here, and we had 400 here. So close to 1,000 pips in profit on the US tech, and congratulations to those who are taking advantage of this move. So for today, I have a simple setup which we have identified here. The first one is this trend line after connecting the series of higher lows, and then the second one is the structure here at the $11,875 area. So what I said this morning is that we want to be seeing price break out of the $11,875 area to give us an opportunity to join a trend continuation to the upside with a take profit target between the 12,500 and the $12,400 level. However, if price does not go to the upside, but instead we have a breakdown of the bullish trend line, which appears to have happened here. So we want to remain patient and look out for selling pressure on our lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. And if a further breakdown of the 11,700 happens, retest of structure, we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. So this is what we are looking forward to on the US tech. Now we moved on to the USDJPY, and on the USDJPY we had a huge bearish move yesterday, which I told you I personally missed, but congrats to those who took advantage of this move. And as soon as price got into the 135 Japanese yen level, we have been witnessing a consolidation phase around here, further emphasizing the indecision in this market. So we had this simple structure here after connecting the series of lower highs here and the series of higher lows here to give us a possible trend continuation pattern. And we already had the breakdown of the $135.300 level, which has given us an opportunity to join the sell momentum. And for those who are taking advantage of this move here, we have about 60 pips running in profit right now. Now, for those who had missed out on this opportunity, I have simulated two possible scenarios that we might be looking forward to add more position or join this trade if you have missed that opportunity. Well, the first one is price coming back to do a retest of the 135 Japanese yen level or the 135.300 or this trend line here. But the most important thing we want to be looking out for whenever price comes into any of the structures is selling pressure below that level on our lower time frame so that we can join that decline to the downside. So our take profit target for selling pressure here still remains around the 132, 131.500 area. So let's be on standby to catch that move if it happens. However, if we have a breakout of the bullish trend line, remember we don't always put all our heads in one basket. So in as much as we're expecting a bearish momentum here, we should not ignore the possibility that price might likely climb to the upside. And if it happens, we want to position ourselves very well to be able to take advantage of that move. So we will not be surprised when that move happens. So what I'm saying here is if price breaks out of this trend line here and we start seeing buying pressure above that structure, we want to be getting ready to join or buy the USDJPY with a take profit target at around the 138 Japanese yen level, a level which has been a strong selling niche for participants in this market since the beginning of this month. So this is what we are looking forward to on the USDJPY. Then we went on to talk about the XAUUSD, where we were also profitable yesterday as we were able to close our buy position with over 2,100 pips on the XAUUSD. In fact, price exceeded our expectation, breaking out of the $1,810 level. However, we have a situation here since price came back into the 1,810 area. We have been witnessing a consolidation phase here, further emphasizing the indecision in this market, suggesting that the participants in this market are waiting for a catalyst that will be bringing liquidity into the market to drive price movement. And when we were able to see that we have three major macroeconomic events coming up today in the next 8 to 9 hours from now, and this is going to likely serve as a catalyst for price action. And wherever direction price is going to be moving, it's going to be very massive. So I implore us to be on standby to catch that move when it happens. So to make things easier for us during the New York session today, I have identified a channel between the $1,812 level and the $1,806 area. As you can see, price has been caught within that consolidation phase area. So we shall be looking forward to a signal in either in the form of a breakout of that structure, followed by buying pressure above that level for us to buy that XAUUSD. However, if we have a breakdown of that structure followed by selling pressure below that area on our lower time frame, we want to be thinking of selling the XAUUSD. Then we went on to close the day with the AUDCAD, which was also a profitable trade for us, as we were able to close yesterday with about 80 pips in profit as price action exceeded our expectation here, breaking out of the 0.9300 level. Then we saw price come back to do a retest of the 0.9250 level, followed by buying pressure, give us another opportunity to join that rally to the upside. And for those who took advantage of this one here, you will currently be running with about 50 to 60 pips in profit right now. So going into the New York session today, I have identified a couple of structures here that we shall be using as a yardstick to either add more position to this trade or join the potential rally here if you had missed out on this opportunity around the 0.92550 level. So what I said here is that we wait out for price to come back to do a retest of the 0.9300 level, look out for buy pressure, then around that area to on our lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. And if that does not happen and price continue to the upside in such a way that it breaks out of the 0.9330 level, buy pressure above that structure should welcome additional position to our existing trade. So we have our take profit target sitting somewhere around the 0.93850 and the 0.93900 level in the meantime. So I also want to let you know that as soon as price gets into the 0.9330 level here, kindly move your stop loss accordingly, lock in some profit, as we want to see how price action is going to relate to the structure. Remember, we had a sell pressure coming in around the same area during the New York session yesterday. So we want to be mindful of what happens around here, as if a breakout happens around that level, then we want to be comfortable in our buy position. However, if we see sharp rejection of this level by the sellers or selling pressure right below the structure in our lower time frame, we might be getting ready to join a decline to the downside at this particular point in time if we start seeing reversal pattern with a breakdown retest of structure in our lower time frame, and put your take profit target around the 0.92200 level while you move your stop loss accordingly as soon as price retest any of the structures, either the bullish trend line here or the 0.933 area on this one. So that is that on the AUDCAD, and I hope I was able to clarify myself with all the pairs we talked about today. I wish you best of luck today, and remember, don't get too excited whenever we have a breakout of a structure. We want to be patient enough to wait out for signals in the form of a retest of structure right in our lower time frame to be able to be sure that price action is actually heading in that direction. So I look forward to seeing you guys same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. UTC, 11 a.m. West African time. Let's come again. Let's review our positions and get ready for the New York session tomorrow. So kindly note that we have major events coming up today. Please remember, lock in your positions very well so that we don't get caught up in any sudden pullback that might likely happen prior to the event or after the event. On this note, I wish you a beautiful evening and best of luck. Kairu Karim says hi. All right. Do you want to ask a question before I close? All right. I think no. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye bye.